My friends and cronies, a quiet, mighty mouth, Casey Quinlan, is deafening. We'll need some time to get used to it. Meanwhile, let's watch and listen to clips from 4 podcast episodes Casey, my dear friend, supporter, and ruckus-making partner, and I jointly published when one or both of us felt like crap, but had enough energy between us to share something with our loyal followers. Brace yourselves for some bittersweet moments. I needed a hankie while producing.
Hey, ladies, gents, and gender-fluid friends. It's time again for Healthcare is Hilarious. Yes, it's me, Casey Quinlan, Mighty Casey on the interwebs, with another snark-filled hot take on healthcare. Let's make fun of the ridiculous, give credit to the awesome, working always to make you laugh and think at the same time.
Welcome to Health Hats, the podcast. I'm Danny Van Leeuwen, a two-legged cisgender old white man of privilege who knows a little about a lot of healthcare and a lot about very little. We will listen and learn about what it takes to adjust to life's realities in the awesome circus of healthcare. Let's make some sense of all of this. We've spoken every few weeks. Casey hasn't been feeling well. She hasn't been publishing her podcast. She recently discovered recurrence of her breast cancer with metastasis. We agreed to record a chat. I'd edit, and we'd both publish it. We recorded on May 28th, 2021. Casey published the same day. Danny Van L plus Casey Q sitting around talking. I published on June 6th. See link in the show notes.
So, greetings and salutations.
Greetings. I love seeing you.
It's not bad to be seen. I will say that I'm not feeling like myself lately. It's not that I've been hiding out, but I just haven't really had the bandwidth, the emotional, the pick one, whatever, to really be as much of a public persona as I typically am. Yeah. And also because I have very little understanding of what the fuck is even going on. I know what's going on, but what the outcome or the impact of what I'm doing is, whether or not that's having any impact on my overall survival time, no one knows, and we won't know for a while. I feel like I'm being shoved through a pipe, and I'm just being shoved through a pipe, and here I am in the pipe.
So say more about, what does that mean, being shoved
through a
pipe?
For those who may be coming to this cold, I have spent since August of last year, chasing what appeared to be a back problem that just was bedeviling me and didn't seem to be giving into physical therapy or exercise or any of the usual stuff. And as a result of that, nothing worked. And everything made it worse. The stuff that had typically fixed it previously only made it worse, swimming, etc. And so that was disturbing. And then I guess in early March, an MRI revealed that there was some metastatic mess going on in my lumbar spine. And so it was like, oh, really? And it turns out I have a recurrence of breast cancer. And so here I am with the metastatic cancer diagnosis. And I still have terrible mobility issues. I'm still not fixed on the spinal side. There's some argument, both from my perspective and also from the professional perspective, about how much of this is due to cancer process and how much of it is a separate issue that has to do with the fact that my spine is a mess. I think it's a little bit of both. Sitting isn't terrible, but I do need to move around.
I'm thinking about, okay, so the ways to move around are to be carried, to be in a chair, to walk. And so it sounds to me like you're saying that any of that in large doses is problematic.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like I said, getting in and out of the house is an adventure. I do it.
Yeah.
But the stairs out front are a thing.
Yeah.
Again, it's not something I want to do more than once a day. Usually I try to limit out of the house medical appointments to either once a day or put them in a clump and then leave the house and go and do be hit or yawn and then go out once and come back once. And that's it. And, right now there's not a lot going on. I had radiation treatment for a couple of weeks and that was a daily deal.
Okay. So it was like trying to get outside every day and navigate the steps and all that.
My sister's here, which has been an absolute blessing because otherwise I'd be screwed.
Because you live by yourself.
Yeah, I do live. And right now I am not really able to live alone just because of the mobility stuff.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I went back to the spinal specialist that I had been planning on working with until we got the metastatic cancer diagnosis. Surprise! And back in March. And so I reopened that conversation yesterday and it's okay. Now that we've gone down the cancer rabbit hole and we're doing that, and that's ongoing, how about we readdress the idea that Casey might be able to get up and fucking walk again at some point? Let's not ignore that.
Are you like pissed off?
I wouldn't say I'm pissed off.
Okay.
I'm bemused.
Bemused. I like that word.
Not pleased. We'll just say that Casey is not pleased at the idea of a stage 4 cancer diagnosis. But again, because I know so many people who have been on the receiving end of those various types, it's not as though I feel as though I'm the only schmuck in the universe that's gotten stuck with this. Not far from it. And also that it's like I'm supposed to go home and die now. No, death is inevitable for all of us. And who knows, I could be seeing like the end of my line, as it were, but not as though that's happening this week or even this month. I'm not feeling as though I'm about to shuffle off, but who knows? Because death is, by the way, an inevitable outcome for all of us. No one gets out of here alive, in case you missed the memo. It's still only a theory. It's not something that I figure is happening this week or this month or possibly even this year. But the fact that I'm now at the point of eyeballing my mortality pretty squarely, it's so high. How you doing? Yeah. How are you? Yeah. Guess what? Hey there.
So are you bored? Like you're such an active person.
We'll say that not being able to do much is not my usual. This is wearing me out, that I'm tired. I'm just full on tired. But I'm also tired of not being able to move and tired of feeling nailed to the perch. But I have to hope that it's at least addressable.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm sitting in my head right now. Find the problem you can solve and then go for that. Or find the problem you can attack, whether or not curing metastatic cancer, maybe there's a big eraser and maybe this eraser that we're using, maybe it's working. I don't know. Or at least it's erasing it enough that who knows? We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
That's one of those things. Okay, I'm doing what I can. In other words, I'm following my treatment plan. I'm doing what's on the list and we'll see where we end up.
Yeah, honey, that's a lot.
It's true. And that's, in the meme speak of our times, welcome to the third millennium. Yes, it's a lot, whatever. Any of it can be a lot. And yes, I've got a lot going on right now, but again, it's not as though I'm in any way trying to minimize or push away the impact or importance of what it is I'm dealing with. But the fact that I'm not alone in this.
Yes.
First of all, I'm not alone because I know a lot of people give a shit and are out there pulling for me.
Oh, absolutely.
Which makes a big difference. Trust me. I know it's there and it makes a big difference.
Episode 127 was a matter-of-fact cold Sunday with an oh crap sauce. Then it melted into the hospital for pain management and electrolyte level setting. We recorded this number 132 on August 1st, 2021. Casey rallied with self-reflection and advocacy, still with that biting humor. Casey published hashtag Mets Party Goes to the Hospital on July 3rd, and I published on July 11th. Links in the show notes. So, you're home. Why'd you go in?
I had not grasped this because you onboard a lot of information when you end up in a situation like, let's say a stage 4 cancer thing. There's lots of information aimed at your head. I do like to think that I retain a lot of it, but it doesn't all stick.
Yes.
And I don't know that I've gotten the memo that somewhere around 25% of the people who end up on the drug that I'm on, which is a Pfizer drug that's specific to hormone positive breast cancer, particularly recurrence and later stage. They start you with a dosage of 100 milligrams. And it looks like that dosage is too high for me.
Okay.
About 25%, I think, or at least this is the information that I've grokked so far, about 25% of us who end up on this medication end up with some kind of GI, gastrointestinal impacts. I was dehydrated. I called 911. No one had to do that for me. I did it for myself because I knew that I was in trouble. This wasn't getting any better. It was getting worse. I did not know that it was going to be 5 days, 4 nights, or whatever it was. But comes the EMS crew and out the door. And I was there.
So when you went to the hospital, was your pain managed at home or?
It wasn't like not managed at all. But what I was taking, I had been on 5 milligrams of oxy, just a tablet, oxy as needed. And then the palliative care bunch bumped that up to 10 milligrams every 3 hours and just again a tablet. But in the hospital, the last couple of days I was there, they switched me to a 10 milligram 12-hour extended release. That turns out to be, at least so far, that's been because I can now actually get up and walk with my walker.
Okay.
That was, I could take a couple steps before, but it was not pretty. And now it's not like I'm doing a Rockettes kick line. Do not mistake me. But getting back in the pool is something that seems possible now.
Yes.
Whereas until a couple of weeks ago, that was not feeling like it was on the list of shit Casey could end up doing.
When I talked to you briefly when you just got home, you were committed to not leaving the house for a few days.
Weeks.
Okay.
And okay, that's working. So I'm going to be 100% that bitch. And I will now take a short break to mention the fact that I recognize my privilege, deeply recognize my privilege as an old person who elected to go with original Medicare, not that Medicare Advantage managed care mess, but original Medicare. I had a broker work with me to pick the right plan for me. And but knowing all of that, I didn't have to pay the broker. The insurer, the people who sell the supplements or whatever, pay the broker. Most elders, the people who are aging into Medicare, don't know that this kind of stuff is available to them as services, help, guidance, consulting, pick one. But because I knew this. So anyway, I have really good Medicare. I'll put it that way. And not that it pays for every last little thing. It will not pay all of the ambulance that brought me home on Saturday. But again, grateful for privilege. I'm in a position to be able to pay that. It'll probably be $600 to $1,000.
Wow.
But it's fine. I can do that. And I am grateful that I'm in the position to be able to do that, because that way, when I got home, I didn't have to navigate the stairs. They brought me into the apartment. They didn't have to carry me to my bed. They got me in the door.
How was it being on the receiving end of hospitalists?
I can't say that I got hospitalisted to fare thee well by any stretch. There was one hospitalist, a woman who came and was there a few times.
Yeah.
And she did what she needed to do. And I think she was the one that put me on the extended release pain med.
Okay.
So that was thumbs up to the hospital crew. doing that, and in concert with the palliative care and the onc team, because my palliative care and my oncology team also came to see me in the hospital.
Oh, they did. So
Yeah.
how did you, what was your view of the coordination of care then?
It was on me, but none of
you.
that was a surprise. It's like knowing that the person in the bed or the person who's in the room with the person in the bed needs to be the care coordinator or participate in care coordination. You just got to know that going in. And it's not as though there will be no care coordination if you don't do that. The yawning gaps happen when the people on the receiving end aren't paying as much attention as the people on the dispensing end.
It's always seemed to me like, as a nurse or whatever, is that it was so much to ask. You don't get in the hospital unless you're pretty messed up. Right. And it's really hard to focus.
Right.
Because you're just gazing at your navel because you're in misery. Now a word about our sponsor, Abridge. Record your healthcare conversations with doctors and other clinicians with Abridge. Push the big pink button and record. Read the transcripts or listen to clips when you get home. Check out the app at abridge.com. abridge.com, or download it on the Apple App Store or Google Play Store. Let me know how it went. I'd been feeling poorly. Lots of pain affecting my mobility, ability to play my bari sax, and my mental health wasn't that good. I was struggling to put out my podcast, and Casey reached out to me. Let's record together again. What a love. We recorded on August 7th, 2021. Casey published hashtag Mets Party, Danny and Casey Talking Altered States on August 21st, and I published Normal, a drier setting on August 29th. Again, links in the show notes. I had something I wanted to talk about with you.
Okay.
Both of us have been dealing with the up and down of altering states. What I'm interested in is this adjusting to this.
The new reality.
New realities
and new normal, but normal is a drier setting, but yeah.
Yeah, is a drier setting. Yeah. I've been thinking a lot myself is I'm on the downside of steroids, which is steroids are the most wonderful drug in the world and one of the worst.
Yeah, I have to say not a fan. The one time that I was on dexamethasone during this period of time over this year that you've been having my own adventure, I was like, if you ever try to get me to take that again, I'm going to punch you in the face.
I feel that way until I hit a certain point.
Yeah.
And it seems like the only thing. But the point isn't the steroids.
The dexamethasone didn't do crap for the problem
that
it was supposed to. So it was like I felt really speedy and really tense, and all the stuff that you get with steroids, and it didn't actually help. So I'm like, do not ask me to take that again, because no, if it helped, I would have probably felt a little less face punchy about it.
For me, each time I've taken steroids, whether it's for MS flares or this back stuff, it has always been magic in how fast and how well it served
when it
its
works,
purpose.
it's great. And when something works, it's it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. I'm just going to keep doing this. Planning, it's all in the planning. But that's the thing. People who do not have to concern themselves with any kind of physical incapability or whatever, it's not something that they have to think about. And having been in that crowd for 60 odd years, even though I had a lot of empathy and understanding, and when I was making plans with disabled friends would make sure that I thought through, like, where am I asking them to go? What am I asking them to do? And making sure that I hadn't done something stupid. But at the same time, it's just, you don't realize how much the world is really set up for people who can leap tall buildings at single bounds, and how much of the world is not set up for anybody who can't do that.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I think there's also, for me, it's been on a couple of levels. The main one is playing my horn.
Yeah.
I can play 10 minutes. And 10 minutes is a tune. 10 minutes is not sufficient. And I'm waiting on an assistive device. Hopefully that's going to help me. But it's interesting thinking about, okay, maybe I should start playing a kazoo.
Which horn is it?
I play a baritone saxophone.
Baritone sax, yeah.
So it's like a 25-pound horn.
That's a good size.
It's a big horn.
That's a big old horn.
Yeah, and I love it. And I have played clarinet in the past, and I have played an alto sax in the past, but I don't want to. Thinking about, okay, is this my new reality? And okay, so what does that mean? So I think that part of it is, as you're describing, is the logistical, practical, okay, these are the capabilities today. What does that mean in terms of going to the bathroom, wherever you are?
Right.
Or getting in the door or out of the door, whatever. But then I'm also finding it's the, oh my God, this is the new me. Do I like this? Oh man, this is the new me.
Challenge to your ability to adapt, certainly. And going through this, like a version or like a small slice of it myself currently, with the mobility issues presented by bone mets that have settled into my hip and pelvis and lower spine. It's been an interesting journey. Again, the empathy piece, not as though I considered myself the most empathetic person on the planet, but I realized that even I, who thought I was doing okay, fell short in some things that one assumes about stuff.
Yeah.
But it's certainly put on my mind now. And if I don't think it's going to happen, but if I do fully regain total mobility, I'll be really grateful for that. But in the meanwhile, in my current situation, whatever I can do, I will try to do. And whatever I can't do, I will try to figure out a hack. We are calling ourselves patient hackers. People who confront the medical industrial complex and have needs beyond, yeah, okay, you're fine, see you again next year. Right. People who have healthcare needs beyond I don't need that, I'm okay. You have to figure out how to work the system. Hacking, you have to figure out how to work the system so you get what you need, or your family gets, if you're a family caregiver, et cetera. We're all hacking this all the time. And I think that it does a disservice to people who fix broken issues, things that aren't working for them or for their communities. We're all hackers in that sense.
It's good to talk to you, and I look forward to seeing you.
Forward to seeing you too. This, like I said, it's pretty much a mortal lock. Unless they cancel the con. We're going to observe proper protocols, but we will still love the hell out of each other however we do it.
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you, dear. The things I've learned in the journey this year it's a never-ending journey, this learning. As I was getting ready to depart from my birthday dinner, is cancer can't kill me yet. I have too many problems to hack fixing healthcare. So fuck cancer. I ain't done. I ain't quitting until I'm dead. And then I want you all to carry me off the battlefield on my shield and then keep fighting, because that's the only way we're going to hack this universe into a more human-friendly place.
Let's just say that Casey's health is not great. You can see us two baldies talking to each other after the space of about a year. Casey's had COVID, chemo, starting with palliative care. We recorded on October 28th, 2022. I published an audio and video episode on November 26th. Casey never did publish this episode, although she did publish a hashtag Mets Party update, Can We Has More Hope Please, on December 2nd. Links in the show notes. Hello, my love.
Hello, dear. How are you? What's going on? What's new?
What's new? What's new? I'm working on a series about young adults with mental illness.
Okay,
And
that's useful.
yeah, it's been fascinating pulling it together and meeting people and thinking about the scope of it and
Yeah.
finding people with lived experience to share their story so it's rooted in reality.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell us about your health.
I'll just say it's not great. I went through, let's see, at the beginning of this year, things looked okay, other than I did get a mild case of Omicron, a breakthrough. I guess it was like the first week of January, but everything seemed to be just bumping along. But then in April and May, my kidney function started to look funky,
Right.
technical term. And June, I was in the way of needing to see a nephrologist, and there was some deep concern about kidney failure. And the last thing in the world I want to deal with right now is dialysis. So I was working on, okay, how do we get past this? And they also, at the same time, were strongly suspecting that it was because of the treatment I was on.
Okay.
The oral medication that I was on for my cancer. That was part of the problem, because there were a lot of other issues around anemia and calcium levels, and things just kept going further and further down into the chute. And then that led to me being hospitalized twice, once in August and once in September. And they had taken me off the medication I was on, the breast cancer medication. I stopped taking that. I want to say it was in June, but it took a while. My kidneys are okay, not great, but they're no longer in kidney failure zone. Occasionally, they have to hit me with a drug called Zometa. That is, what that does is it reduces blood calcium levels. And they haven't had to hit me with that for, I guess, like a month or so now. So that's good. I'm on traditional chemo now versus the oral medication I had been on. I'm on a class of drugs called taxanes. As we're sitting here looking at each other, people will be listening to this. But yes, all my hair fell out. But that's fine. I'm not gonna cry over spilled hair. Why worry about it? It's
Right.
like there are other things that are more important, like getting this cancer under control. I had a CT scan yesterday,
Okay.
a progression scan, and things are at a stasis point. There's a spot on my liver that's been there for a little while. I did end up with a broken rib. I was pretty sure it was a broken rib, and that was a pathologic fracture. The way that the cancer, it's in my bones, in my spine, and I had broken ribs visible, healed broken ribs visible on an MRI last year. When I felt like I had a broken rib, I was pretty sure it's a broken rib. And it was. The pain has passed off now, blessedly, because that was pretty awful. Yeah, but the pain itself only lasted for, I guess it was like a week or so, maybe 10. It wasn't that bad. But they're talking about maybe doing another round of radiation in that area just to, we'll see. But I'm chemo brained badly at this point. I can still work on audio and video editing and projects that I do, the stuff that I do for medical journals and societies, but through a major publishing house. But I can't write. I can't write to explain right now. I had to turn down a writing project that was worth a few $1,000s this month just because I'm just not in the zone where I can write like that right now. And they're infusing me every 3 weeks. I go in for another infusion next Thursday. And the cadence seems to be that the first week to 10 days is the worst of the chemo brain.
Wow.
I think. We'll see. It's the one question I keep forgetting to ask, and I will remember to ask next week when I have my appointment with my oncologist. How many of these do you see us doing? And because every 3 weeks for 12 to 18 weeks, that's basically 6 months and or close to it. So that takes me well into next year. And I'm concentrating on small stuff. I still want to get back in the pool.
So how's your spiritual health?
I'm doing okay. Spiritually, I am seeing or talking to a palliative care group, and I'm okay. I can't say that I don't. There's good days and bad days. I'm okay. I don't know, like, where we're headed with this, short term, long term, but I'm just waiting for signal. And there may not be, and who knows? Who knows? But again, the progression scan thing didn't really give us anything to hang our hat on yet. Right. Yes, they confirmed that I did have a broken rib. There's a little bit of ground glass in my lungs. They're thinking maybe that's a leftover from the COVID thing, although my COVID infection was so minimal.
Okay.
But I'm just, every day I wake up and it's a day and I live through it, and then we do it again the next day.
Yeah.
And as long as that keeps happening, I'll keep pressing forward.
Can I ask you some not health related questions?
Sure.
Okay. So when you look back on your career as an activist, how do you recognize success in your work?
Because what we're all trying to do is such a huge, heavy lift and giant pivot, a long established hierarchical setup, process, industry, whatever you want to call healthcare. I don't know. Every once in a while, I hear something that gives me a sense that there's some potential change that has happened. But pretty much everything is going to be recognizable more in a look back than it's going to be anything that you can see happening like in real time around you. And I think my own measure of success, I don't know that I have one. Okay. I just get up every day and go and do what I do. If I hear somebody saying something that I know I've been saying for a decade, but I never heard them or that group say it before. Yeah. That's progress. That's progress. And that's progress. Right. We managed to create a little bit of something there. We'll see. But we'll do a test or we'll do a pilot. The thing that I see too many sort of industrial side players getting trapped in, though, is that death by 1,000 pilots. They do 1,000 pilots, but they never actually do an entire system through their entire system. Yeah. They don't actually flush through the whole thing and change their processes enough to make it truly patient-centered, patient-focused, even patient-led. In some cases, they could do with some patient leadership. And that's why organizations like PCORI, the Patient-Centered Outcomes Research Institute, and other international groups that's one of the reasons that they came into existence, is to at least try to push some of that through. But again, we're dealing with this huge hierarchical structure that's been built over millennia, not very scientifically based, let's say 2,000 years ago. We've gotten a little better in the last couple hundred years, but we're still tripping over ourselves as a species, discovering things and figuring out maybe that idea about the leeches was not a good idea. There's still some leech stuff that's left lying around. Why do we keep doing something if it's meaningless? Or if it's just because it's the way we've always done things. So that's why we're doing it this way. Looking at processes and systems and saying, why do we do it this way? Is there perhaps another approach we can take that would be either safer, faster, more effective? Pick your descriptor. But it's just trying to think of new pathways and new ideas that go beyond just a scientific experiment. And the other battle that drives me crazy is this whole qual versus quant, or the qualitative versus quantitative. Everybody wants their numbers and they want their little data sets, and they want it very scientifically. We titrated this, and it was a chemical formula, and we did algorithms, and it was all about the data and the numbers and the statistics. And that's that when it's quantitative, then we know it's real. But if it's qualitative, that's soft skills, and that's just people talking to each other. And we don't see any science in that. What the hell? Wait a minute. No, that's not right. But we're still in that zone.
Yeah. So if you think about our mutual audiences, what advice do you have for us in these trying times? Do you think that, this really works? I found this over and over, this works. And I'll prime you, because I know one of the things you'll say is build relationships across bridges. Is something you've said since the moment I met you.
Yeah. You got to bust the silos. You got to break down the communication channel silos as much as you need to break down the silos of between data exchange, etc.
Yeah. What else?
I don't know. We've got globally, and then our own in the US of A thing. There's a huge species-wide challenge. We've got so many things confronting us right now. Everything from the fact that we've managed to screw the climate almost beyond recognition, and also the rights of individuals as citizens seems to have become less important than the rights of some rich people who get to basically buy governments and put their little puppets in there and have it all be the entire system of everything set up to reward them, these a small percentage of humanity. And the rest of us can all just basically go between the United States and then the rest of the quote unquote developed world, or the world that observes democracy as an actual process. Although that's an open question right now, given the way that democracies in many ways are behaving. You just look at the UK and the US, and between us, we're such a hot mess. It's hard to really wrap your head around how really bad things are. If you sit and think about the macro picture too much, though, you can end up stuck because there's just so much that's wrong that we thought we were making progress. But this feels, instead of the 2 steps up and 1 step back, it's like we took 2 steps up and now we're rolling back 3 centuries. It's wait a minute, are we going back to the feudal state now? And are we all going to just basically be sitting at the foot of the castle walls waiting for the nobles to throw some scraps out so that we can eat this week?
Or paper towels.
That's where we're at.
Thank you. This is lovely. Thanks for doing this with me. Bald is beautiful and shows on the outside. Brain fog on the inside freaks me out. Last time I spoke with Casey in mid-March, she didn't sound lucid or humorous, and she couldn't spin a yarn or offer wisdom. Casey impacts me, us, in the patient caregiver movement. I'll pray for Casey and her sister Cece. Jan Oldenburg and I commit to saving an archive of Casey's work. We'll be calling on you. I host, write, edit, engineer, and produce Health Hats, the podcast. Kayla Nelson provides website and social media consultation and disseminates the podcast across social media. Leon Van Leeuwen edits the article grade transcript. Joey Van Leeuwen supplies musical support, composing, and arranging, especially for the podcast intro and outro. I play Barry sax on some episodes alone and with the Lechuga Fresca Latin Band. I'm grateful to you who have the most critical roles as listeners, readers, and watchers. See the show notes, previous podcasts, and other resources through my website, www.health-hats.com, and my YouTube channel at dvanleu, DVANLEU. Please subscribe and contribute. If you like it, share it. See you around the block.